Hello. So I just got done hunting, and I've confirmed this over and over again. But I wanted to make a video for those of you who had questions about it and wondered about if it was going to affect your hunt. And that thing that I'm talking about is, say the scenario plays out, and you're out in your deer stand somewhere. The wind shifts up, a doe smells you. And I'm going to tell you something here in a little bit, so stick tuned to the end. That's going to help you not get smelled at all. And it's something that you wouldn't guess. I made a video about it in the past. And so anyway, check this out. So I was sitting in my stand. I was waiting for these deer to come down this logging trail to go to this little tiny sliver of a bean field. And as soon as I got there, I was in the stand maybe 10 minutes or so, something like that. And this doe started blowing. And I looked back, behind me, because I was expecting the deer to come out right next to me, come out to the bean field kind of in front of me. I was shooting at an angle, catty corner across the entrance of the bean field. And I figured I would get a shot at a deer. And man, I see some deer. So I looked back as she was blowing and stuff. She blew for a minute or so, made all kind of noise, stomping her foot. And then she turned around and ran off. This direction, behind me, back, which I figured is probably the bedding area. So I waited, maybe I would say 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't think it was super long. An 8-point came out. It was a 2.5-year-old 8-point. I would have shot it. A lot of people would pass that. Right now I'm having to hunt on public land and stuff like that. So, and I also have this military deal coming up, and to me, any buck that's legal on public land is a trophy. So in Missouri, in the county that I'm in, it has to have at least 4 points on one side. So it could have the whole other side broken off, as long as it has 4 on this side, and it could have just 2 on this side or a spike on this side or whatever. As long as there's 4 on one side, it's a legal buck. There are some counties in Missouri that there isn't an antler point restriction, so you can shoot any buck you see. But I was going to shoot this buck. I knew that it was a shooter. I had a couple shots at 25 yards through this hole, about, not very big, but I didn't know if I should take it or not, so I just decided not to take the shot. I've taken shots like that before, but I didn't want to risk just it hitting something that I couldn't see and wounding the deer. So I didn't shoot. That deer moseyed around under this oak tree for about, I don't know, 20 minutes. Then probably not even that long, 10 minutes, and then went back off in the woods the way it came. And I was like, it's crazy that the deer were blowing, and then an 8-point comes out and didn't even care about the blowing. Deer literally do not care. Like, I have seen bucks standing there, and then a doe starts blowing. The buck looks over that direction, looks around for a little bit, and then just goes back to what it was doing, eating or, whatever. So, which most time for me, they're eating. So after that 8-point left, a doe and a fawn came out. And I thought about shooting them or shooting the doe or whatever, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to have to mess up this area by dragging out going track this thing down and having to drag it out. So I'm like, I'm not going to shoot it. I'm going to wait for a buck. Then they left, and then a super nice 9-point, 8, 9, 10, it was probably 9, 10, 11-point buck, 4.5-year-old deer, came out the same spot. I could have shot it at 25 yards. I was like, man, I just hope that it walks down the logging trail, comes out next to me so I get a good broadside shot. But it didn't do that. It stood there for a little bit and looked around and looked at the other deer that were there, which it came out with that 8-point again. 8-point was right behind it or right next to it, and then a little fawn. 10-point went back in the woods. The 8-point stayed there for a bit, and then it left. And then the fawn left. A deer might have come out again, but I decided, you know what? They're not going to come out right here. There's something back there that they're interested in. So as soon as I packed up, I went and looked at it real quick, and the whole ground was bare. And it's just whatever type of oak tree it is, the acorns that come out of it, the deer love so much that they just come visit that spot specifically for that. Didn't even care about the bean field right there. So I went ahead, packed up, and left before, to give myself the best chance tomorrow. I will be back there. I'm going to go a little bit earlier. I was leaving, and I jumped some bucks up out the field, out of the bean field. So, y'all, like if you're out there in the woods and you get up in your stand and then Next thing you know, doe starts blowing. I don't think the doe that was blowing scented me, because my scent was blowing the other way. Plus, I don't smoke, but I bring cigarettes with me because they make the best. I'll say this to stick around for this information, and here it is. So if you stuck around for it, comment in the comment section and just say, hey man, I stuck around. Thanks for the info. So I blow the cigarette smoke down my shirt and make sure that I can feel the air going behind my back and stuff. Like it to go with my sleeves, and I ash in my hat. Put the ashes in ashes in my hair. I know that sounds like it's really stupid, but it really works. I've had deer dead downwind of me. Had no idea, bucks, does, all that stuff. Actually, 2 of those does ended up going behind me. I forgot about that. They went right around behind me the same way that, like, not behind me, but to my right. Went around behind me, and then came to my right. I know they passed through my scent, whatever of it was there, and they didn't start blowing or anything at all. So it works very well. I've been doing that for a while, actually, because I was smoking. That's how I figured this out. The year that I quit, deer started blowing me and started skunking me. So I was like, you know what? I guarantee it's the smoke. Like, the cigarette smoke is completely overwhelming. I do bring like some type of deodorant that's for scent killer brand, or it might be dead downwind brand. I think it's actually dead downwind. That works very well, and I also put some of that in my hat and whatever else. And obviously, also, I don't know if you know this, but your pee, they have no idea what human pee smells like. They're like, oh my god, I bet that's human pee over there. That's what it smells like. No, they have no idea what your pee or poo smells like. I've had to, poo out of my stand before, and just generally always seems that during, I'm all excited about hunting, I get in my stand, and I have my guts are tore up. I have to poop out of my stand. And the deer don't care about that. It's actually a good cover scent. So is your pee. Actually, when it comes to rut, if they go nuts if you yourself, a human, pee in a scrape. If you're a girl, I guess you just have to squat over the scrape. Don't touch it with nothing, your hands or anything, but just pee in it. And man, especially if if it's your time of the month, like Shark Week, for you, that might make it even crazier. I have no idea if that would be a good thing or a bad thing, but I definitely would just see what they do. Pee in a scrape and put your camera there and see what happens. So yeah, I hope that y'all enjoyed the video. Definitely do not get discouraged if you get in the woods, get in your stand and the doe, and you get blowed at. That's not the end of the hunt. The other deer in the area do not care. They still come out. Actually, that might make them curious, and they, generally the only ones that respond to the blowing is like other does, or sometimes if the doe takes off running, other deer might run with it, but that still does not mean it's the end of your hunt. Stick around, and generally for me also, sometimes in the morning I'm like, man, it's like 9 o'clock, I just want to leave, but I'm like, told myself, just stay a little longer, see what happens. Dude, deer will get up in the morning, they'll move around, after light and stuff, and then they'll go find somewhere to lay down, and they'll get up again and mosey around some more. They do that all throughout the day. I mean, you never know when you're going to see them. A lot of big bucks are killed after, 9 o'clock in the morning. I've killed deer after that time. I've been like so happy that I decided to stick around and waited out a little bit longer and ended up getting a nice buck. Actually, one of them sitting right over, well, 2 of them are sitting right over here. They're not nothing special. One of these is, I'm going to be mounting them myself. This one is a 2.5-year-old 8-point, really wide. It's a big deer for like 2.5-year-old. I thought it was a 3.5-year-old. I couldn't tell what the mass was like from where I was. I shot it with my bow, and actually made a really bad shot on it. Oops, my bad, y'all. My bad. I'm sorry. And the shot that I made, some sort of way, I was trying to make a quartering away shot, but my shot just skimmed its ribs and sliced the deer open. The deer wasn't barely even bleeding. It didn't go through his ribs or anything. It just sliced his skin open, wide open. So I hurried up and put another arrow in it. And as the deer was crossing the creek bed about 30 yards away, I stuck one right in the middle of his back and dropped it in his tracks. And that was with my PSE Drive NXT. I love that bow. Super quiet, amazing let off. It is a great bow. Next deer. This is a 9-point. Yeah, really nice deer. Probably 3.5 years old. I'm going to be mounting this one. And both of these deer, I waited for. I shot that 9-point some years back, and just never done anything with it. I've mounted some deer myself and things like that, and just never got around to some of them. I actually forgot about the deer for a while, but so like both of those deer are great deer. Both public land deer. Wait, are they both? Actually, no. The smaller, the 8-point, the 2.5-year-old is private land. But it's just how it is. If I would have decided to leave, I wouldn't have got those deer. But anyways, I hope that y'all enjoyed the video. I know it's sometimes you're sitting in a stand and it just gets uncomfortable or whatever. That's why you should give a climber a shot. They're super comfortable. Try not to fall asleep because I've had that issue before. I've literally had deer come out. I know what happened. I was snoring, and I didn't used to snore. I don't know what happened. My wife kicks me out of the room all the time. But the deer came out and was looking around right as I woke up and realized that I heard myself snore and woke myself up. I saw the deer come out and it was looking around trying to figure out what is that. So I shot this doe that was trying to figure out what I was. So try not to fall asleep in your stand because some deer, they might hear it and come walk up on you and realize that you're not supposed to be there and leave, and you'll never know it. Try to stay awake. Climbers are super comfortable. Bring your phone with you. Put it on. Take the volume off. Turn the screen on dim, and you could look at stuff on your phone and read stuff and look at memes or whatever on Facebook. I do that all the time. It makes it so much more better. Anyways, y'all have a great day. Jesus loves you. See y'all next time. Subscribe and stuff. Bye-bye, y'all.